Now we're on the part two of the popular joysticks. So here are a couple more. These are a little more specialized than we saw in my most popular one. My most popular, the Palm and the Nunchuck adapter and the Glide Point and those devices. These I've sold a little bit less of because they're more specialized, but they do come into play in certain use cases. One that is more recent that is becoming more popular is what I call the Mini. The Mini uses the same analog joystick that you see in my Palm, except it keeps the original stick cover here. So it is pretty small, and I'll compare it here with this is a Joy-Con version, and this is the Mini. Again, this is neat because you could have two next to it, or three, or whatever. This originally came out of my work with musicians as a MIDI controller, and I found that some of my adaptive folks were looking to use it also, so I made it available as a joystick. The interesting thing with the Mini is that because I custom make the mechanism in here, well, I use a mechanism, a genuine Alps mechanism, and I use a custom printed circuit board. But what I could do is I could take the centering spring out of this. So it would be a non-centered joystick. So when you put it in a position, it stays in that position. Now that's where you see the influence of the musician side of things, because they want to use their digital audio workstation or their DAW to set a setting and leave it. So this stick is available either way. You could have it as a traditional joystick where it centers, or I could build it so that it stays in position. So that's that one. Now, this is an alternate to the slider. This is the kind of the jumbo slider, and I make this available often depending on people's needs. Here is the original slider that you used to sing, and neither of these have the pads on them. They come with pads, so these are just working ones I'm working on. So this is that one. This is larger. It uses that same big 2-inch foam pad. The big difference with this one is it does not use a microcontroller. It uses the TRRS, or 4-pole plug, to go into the back, into the X1 or the X2 in the back of the adaptive controller. So this one absolutely will only work with the Xbox adaptive controller. And it's not USB, it's going into the back jack. Now, why did I do this? Because there is a analog mechanism in here that is stronger than the mechanism found on my typical slider. The mechanism in the typical slider uses what was originally a thumbstick on the PlayStation Portable way back in the day. This one uses a full-size analog stick, which makes it more robust. Now, why? Because this is primarily for people who are going to put more stress on it, more weight. These are folks who are perhaps using a full-strength elbow or a foot. I've seen these used with heels and other parts of the feet to move it around. So this is an option. It's not always listed on my site, but it is available for people who want to have that special case. And in the other realm of special cases, we have this resistive touch device. So let's talk about touch devices. Things like the Glide Point are capacitive. On your cell phone, on your trackpad, those are all capacitive devices. They require a touch or conductivity, between the device. So it won't work with hard plastic, it won't work with a stylus, things like that. Resistive, like this one, is an older technology, but it works by the pressure that you are applying on this panel. And this is actually it's a glass panel, and it's sandwiched in there, and as you move your finger around, it's programmed to move as a joystick. It has the USB port, it plugs into the side of the Xbox, and it shows up like a joystick. So like the Glide Point, When you move it around, if you're moving it in this direction, you're going right, you're going left. If you lift your finger up completely, it will auto center. Or you can keep your finger down toward the center and you'll have your center point, so you could just slide it around. This is most useful for folks who can't do skin contact but maybe have a fingernail and use their fingernail to access it. Or if they were using something like a stylus, you could use a stylus on this one. So again, this is a much more specialty item. It's a little bit more expensive because of that. It takes, a significant amount of work to make this thing, but it is a neat little device for those folks who need to have something that is resistive versus capacitive. So that is the next set of joysticks that I have. We have this jumbo foot slider. We have the mini, which is becoming more and more popular, in addition to all my other sticks. So you just have to kind of figure out, based on your needs, what will work best for you. Thanks for watching.